So I'll start this video out with a little disclaimer that I've only done 3 different shifts with Doordash and made a little over $75, but I don't really see myself doing too many more in the future, so I thought I may as well make it while all this information is fresh in my brain. What's up, you guys? My name is Mateo Hall, and I wanted to share with you my experience working with Doordash and how it pays, what it's like. Is it even worth it to work for Doordash at all? Some of these third-party delivery services, you could compare the same thing to Postmates or Uber Eats, really anything. All these ride-sharing platforms that are given to you nowadays, they do create an opportunity for you to earn more income, but they do have a couple of drawbacks. So probably the most important thing of what everybody's wondering is how well it pays. So I'll start by breaking down my shifts because it gets a little complicated. So for my first shift, I worked a total of 1 hour and 26 minutes, making $28.60. So for my second shift, I worked 1 hour 48, making $34.70. And for my third shift, I worked 1 hour and 22 minutes, making only $13.75. If we break all of that down, it works out to me working over a total of 4.7 hours, making around $16.75 an hour working for Doordash, which sounds really good on the surface, but once we break it down a little bit more, it becomes more nuanced. So $10 of that was peak pay, but if we subtract the $10 from peak pay, which I'll explain what is a little bit later on in the video, then really I was only making $14.57 an hour for Doordash. But that's not really the full truth either, because well over half of that was tips. So if we subtract all of the tips out, which by the way, from these 3 shifts, I made a total of $35.60 from tips. That means that I only made $31.45 from the Doordash company itself, coming out to a measly $6.83 an hour. It's hot in here. So let's talk a little bit more about that. What is the $10 I'm talking about from peak pay that I was getting from Doordash? During really heavy points in time when a lot of orders are coming through, Doordash has the option to flip a little switch and say that you're getting peak pay, which means that on top of every single delivery that you're doing, the standard rate that they're giving you, they're also giving you an extra anywhere between 50 cents and $3 of peak pay on every delivery that you do during this time. They do this to incentivize more drivers to get out so that the deliveries get out on time and making their customers happy. What I noticed is that peak pay is really how you make money with Doordash because their baseline pay is not really that good. Even though I said that you're making $6.85 an hour working for Doordash, you have to remember a couple of things. With that $6.83, you have to be putting some of that away for taxes. Because you're working as a 1099 employee, you're going to be paying self-employment taxes at the end of the year. Although you won't see any taxes taken out of your check right away, it will be coming back to haunt you when the IRS comes to get their dues come February. Well, let's go ahead and round down, call that $5.50 instead, giving Uncle Sam his little cut. Another thing that you have to take into consideration is the money that you're spending on gas during all of this, because you have to be spending money on gas if you're going to be driving your car to do deliveries. That takes our $5.50 down. Let's be generous and just say that it cost 50 cents for gas that entire time, which we all know that it didn't. Best case scenario, you're being paid $5 an hour, which granted is already well below minimum wage. Worst case scenario, you're probably making closer to $4 if you don't make any tips. So how do you actually make money with Doordash then if you're doing $4 an hour? Would I recommend it? I would still say yes, and here's why. That last shift that I did, the 1 hour and 22 minute one that I only made $13 in, was because it was not during peak pay at all, and I took a really bad order. Something that you have to realize when you're working for Doordash is that you are your own boss. You do not have to take any orders. You can decline them. Granted, your acceptance rate will go down, but in the long term, it might be worth it. Let me explain a little bit further now. I was in the heart of the city, and they made me drive all the way over to the west side of the city in order to pick up some KFC, right? I'm thinking, okay, sure, whatever. It's an $8 transaction. I'm going to be making some decent money from it. So I get over to the left side of the city, pick up the KFC, and where am I going except over to the opposite side of town? If I were to just actually look at this receipt, I would have realized the customer has also not given $1 in tip. And this is one of the farthest transactions that I had seen, at least on DoorDash. So I spend the better portion, if not an entire hour, driving back and forth in order to get that one transaction, which granted was a single meal. And then I pick it up, drop it off, and lo and behold, there is no tip at the end. I make my grand spanking $8 for that point in time. Very well, I'm upset. Not only that, now I'm on the opposite side of town where no restaurants are, so there's no one going to be picking up a DoorDash from this area, so I have to drive back to town in order to actually be making something. What I realized from this is that when you're working for DoorDash, pay attention to the orders that actually come through, and just don't be accepting everything, because some of them just won't be worth your time. And that's right, I am recommending that you probably should work for DoorDash if it works for your situation. See, so I make $14 an hour over at my basic 9-to-5 job, and I would do a DoorDash shift right after I get out of work. Even without peak pay, if I get those good tips, I would be making $14.57 an hour. So I would be making slightly more money than I would be at my job anyways. And I didn't have anything planned for that night, so I thought, instead of sitting on my bed all day, why don't I go make some money? And that's what I think you should do. People have a lot of free time that they don't really realize that they have every single day. They waste it in very small increments, and it seems to add up really quickly when you check Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, going through when you lay on your bed for an extra 15 minutes, when you watch a TV show, sit down and watch some YouTube. Now, none of those are bad things. I really do think that you should have breaks scheduled into your, schedule. That is how you keep some sanity going, because if you don't have a break, you're gonna overload yourself and burn out really quick. But something that I realized is that when I'm taking my breaks, a lot of the videos that I watch are mainly auditory. So I just put in my AirPods, or one AirPod, so I can still hear what's happening, and I do other things. I'll be working around the house while listening to my podcast. I'll be driving while listening to my podcast. Oh, I can even be doing DoorDash while listening to my podcast. Now, I do find actual enjoyment in listening to these things, so it's not like I'm wasting time by doing this. If I wasn't working for DoorDash at the time, I would probably be sitting on my bed watching YouTube videos, and that just plain out wouldn't be productive. Granted, if I had something planned for that day, such as filming a video, I wouldn't be doing DoorDash. Granted, I'm not doing it right now because I realize that my time is better suited for you guys. Granted, I am not going to be making money from this video whatsoever. I could be out making $14 right now instead of filming this video, but I find pleasure in this. I see this as a break from my day-to-day, so I schedule in times that I get to film videos for you guys and have fun. But what about all that time that you're not doing anything, when you're just sitting around? I say that you should register your car and go do DoorDash. It's not that hard. It took less than 30 minutes to sign up. I got a hot bag and a red card within the next week after that, and I would get orders. Something that I did realize before I did get my hot bag and red card, though, is that I was sitting around for about 20 minutes before I even got an order. Granted, that was still the day that I made the most money, which kind of confuses me. Because when you're working, DoorDash fluctuates a lot on how much money you can be making. Like I said earlier, I spent 45 minutes doing that $8, $9 transaction, and then I spent the next hour making $30. So you can spend 45 minutes making 9 or an hour making 30, and it averages out to somewhere around 15, which is kind of interesting if you ask me, adds a little bit of liveliness. Now, I don't really think that DoorDash will ever be a really big career path of mine, maybe even not that much of a side hustle, but I thought it was something really interesting to try. It gave me a little bit extra pocket change, and it pays weekly, which is nice, instead of your bi-weekly paycheck that you're getting from probably your 9-to-5 job that you're working right now. You can be paid every single Sunday with DoorDash, and you get to choose which hours you're working. Granted, this will be points in time that you're probably wanting to spend with friends, the middle of the afternoon or right around dinner, trying to go see a movie or something. You wouldn't be able to do that if you want to work a DoorDash shift. But if you don't have anything planned for that day, then why not? Another thing I guess that I should note is that if you're making over $15 an hour, then it's probably not as effective to go work for DoorDash. If you're making over $15 an hour, then chances are that DoorDash is going to be paying you a lot less when you factor in things like taxes, mileage, and maintenance on your car, because your car is going to need more maintenance the more miles that you put on it and the more DoorDash orders that you do. Okay, but now you are starting to dash. What do you do next? Well, I should tell you what you do first, and that is eat before you go out and DoorDash. Make something at your house, eat a sandwich, eat a burrito, something at your home. Just don't be out getting fast food before you do your DoorDash. The reason that I say that is because I didn't eat before my first dash, and I was starving looking at everyone's food, and it would have taken a lot of time back on me if I decided that I wanted to eat in the middle of a shift, because that would have taken away from time that I could spend dashing, and that would have made me spend even more expensive money on food that I don't need to. So before you even start dashing, go ahead, grab a sandwich from your house, eat that, and then get your DoorDash card out and be ready. Second thing that you should start doing when you start to do DoorDash is look at who's tipping, look at where your hot spots are, and know your area. Something that I realized is that I don't know the opposite side of town whatsoever. So I had to pull out Google Maps and transition my way through that very carefully. Luckily, they do have navigation in there, but it really helps if you know your location really well. And even if you do, I can almost guarantee that there's some areas in town that you don't know, or that you'll have to ask for directions around from Siri, Alexa, or Google. I honestly think that DoorDash is a good little side hustle, and if I had the driver's experience, I would do Uber and Lyft as well. I think that these companies have created a great service to us in the 21st century, especially in the times of the illness. So remember, if you're gonna do this, wear some gloves, wear a mask, and be safe, because you don't know what's out there. Overall, I think I'm gonna end up giving DoorDash a solid 7 out of 10. I don't think this is gonna be my side hustle that I'm gonna be pursuing anytime soon. If you need some spare change, it's great. If you go a little bit over budget a month, like I may or may not have this month, and that's why I started doing it, it's a great service. It's a good way to make some money, but I don't really think that this will be my go-to. I don't think this is gonna be my go-to. I might check out Postmates and Uber Eats, see if they're any better, but this is not going to be my side hustle. I think I might actually turn this into a little series, trying out different side hustles, seeing how well they work. If you guys like that idea, remember to leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Check out the description down below, and you could get your 3 free stocks with Webull. By depositing $100, you can get 3 free stocks, 2 of which are valued anywhere between $800 and $1,600. You could also sign up for Robinhood and get an entirely free stock just for signing up for the platform. And if you get a Discover card, you get a $50 free credit just for using that link down below. Until next time, guys, I will see you around until we continue our financial journeys and I find a good side hustle. Bye.